What's up guys, K-Plays here. Today's video is going to be an important call to action for all you duders out there. The custom weapon contest is here once again, and as of this past Friday, voting has officially opened. Those of you that have played World of Iceborne in the past may remember that this is the same fan design contest that brought us the iconic Wyvern Ignition Greatsword and the Black Eagle Charge Blade. Having a particular weapon class end up on top in the voting and eventually added to the games is no small thing. It's incredibly likely that the stats will be pretty powerful, giving the current users of said weapon both a cool new option that could also be meta competitive, and there's also a solid chance that the contest winner will also bring new players to that weapon as well. So clearly, you guys already know where I'm going with this, right? We all need to vote Hunting Horn. The more duders the better, and it's been ages since the old musical mallet has gotten an event weapon, fan-made or otherwise. Looking through the entries before Capcom narrowed things down to the top 20, there were some really creative designs, and sadly, my favorite of the bunch here didn't make it. Real shame, because I love how clever the name and designs are, on top of it being a sleep horn, which is my favorite status to use. On the bright side though, of the entries that did make it to the first round of voting, Hunting Horn is represented not once, not twice, but 4 times out of 20, more than any other weapon type. Sorry to all the gunners and the sword and shield users out there, you guys should probably just pick the Hunting Horn anyway? You know, in protest or something, I don't care. Reason doesn't matter, we just need as many votes as possible. Now, on the one hand, it's great that Hunting Horn makes up a whopping 20% of all the voting options at the moment, because it shows that Capcom definitely like what the artistically inclined duders out there came up with, and they're down to reward us for it. Definitely wish I was among those, because I have a bunch of ideas floating around in my head that I unfortunately don't have the digital art skills to bring to life. On the other hand though, there may be a slight chance that our total votes will spread out across our 4 options versus say every single player that wants the gun lance or a switch axe for example to win only having one choice to put all their votes behind. Fingers crossed that all this representation isn't a double-edged sword in the end, but all this talk of possible odds aside, we need to look at our 4 finalists so I can tell you guys which one I'm putting my vote behind. First up we have Weapon E, Nature's Tranquility. True to its name, this horn design looks like it had minimal man-made crafting done to reach the final product. It's almost like someone just found the perfectly shaped branch out in nature to string up and turn into a harp. There are still vines, flowers, and leaves growing and winding around the weapon, and my favorite part, there's still a family of Downy Craigs living on the thing. They don't care that you've turned your nesting place into a weapon of musical mayhem. To them, home is home, and now they even get to go on adventures with you, complete with some nice relaxing tunes. I like the idea of being able to bash monsters with this thing just like you would with any other hunting horn, but also bringing along just a bit of Disney princess energy thanks to its playing music so charming that a flock of birds will follow you to battle with giant dragons just to be within earshot. I could definitely see this horn song list being geared towards defensive buffs or most likely healing. On the offensive side, this design doesn't really fit any particular element, but if you ask me, sleep would be a fitting choice. Since if it's soothing enough to charm small creatures, its tones are probably also soft enough to make larger ones drift off too. Of course, the blunt force trauma probably also helps to that end too, but it's mostly the heart playing, I'm sure. Next up we have Weapon K, which is obviously an imagining of what we might have gotten if Capcom gave us a new Udra hunting horn. This entry making it into the finals actually kinda surprised me, since I probably would have assumed that Capcom wouldn't have gone for fan-made additions to the existing weapon trees. That's not to say that this is an incredible and creative design though. If there was a new Udra hunting horn, this is probably spot on for what it might have looked like. I'm a sucker, pun intended, for the more organic looking weapon models that really embody the monster materials they come from. And this is just about as spot on as you could go for that concept. The new Udra weapons already in the game look like they're taken out of some Eldritch Horror's armory, and what better addition to that trend than to have the hunting horn be a taxidermied new Udra. Seeing this thing in motion would be awesome. I can almost see the tentacles writhing to the beat and hear those freaky sounds new Udra makes turn into something resembling eerie sounding music. And if I'm looking to this part in the middle right correctly, the artist probably also wants baby new Yaya to float around you during recitals, which would also be a nice touch. As far as the stats go, I'd think that they'd follow the same high raw, low fire element and negative affinity trend that the current new Udra weapons have, which would possibly create a niche in the hunting horn roster. Our fire options at the moment either have low raw attack or, let's just say other issues going on with them. If they at the very least give this thing echo fire and some decent songs, I could see it becoming a solid contender for us. After that though, we have Weapon L, the Shandra Vina. This one took me a bit of Google translating and figure out the design motifs. A Veena is apparently the Indian stringed instrument that this horn is modeled after, and Chandra is the Hindu god of the moon and nighttime, so literally this is the instrument of the night god, which screams sleep weapon if you ask me. Definitely wins some more points in my book there. From the rest of what I can translate, this is easily the most in-depth option we have in terms of background theming. The markings on the business end of this horn represent the night sky, with a closed third eye under the crescent moon to represent a state of dreaming. There's aspects of the cycle of energy, which is shown by the moon rotating above you when placing echo bubbles, which also apparently doubles back to another name for the god, the one who places his crown on the floor. The crown, aka the moon, would sit right above your head when the weapon is sheathed, which in a way could almost symbolize you channeling this ancient deity. 10 out of 10 with every aspect of this design. Whoever came up with this was honestly kinda cooking on the concept art. And last, but certainly not least, we have Weapon T. I feel like we're probably looking at what will ultimately be the fan favorite here, honestly. Similarly to the first hunting horn, but a little bit more intricate, this one is a sort of natural looking wooden weapon, although it looks much more carved and crafted than Nature's Tranquility. The downy crakes here are also a shared design element, but the biggest deviation, pun intended if you really stretch it, is the rotating platform in the center here with a mini diva sitting and singing while you fight. I think that the one thing I'd like is that this animated to rotate in any direction instead of just spinning like the concept art seems to show, since when you hold the horn in neutral position, the mini diva would be facing straight up in the air instead of sitting upright, but that's my small nitpick in an otherwise fantastic design. I'm almost getting some vibes of the last hunting horn winner of the weapon design contest way back in 4 Ultimate, where instead of the diva, we got another beloved Monster Hunter character sitting on top of our horns, the Poogie. This time around though, we'd see a much more elegant design, especially if the figure was fully animated and did short performances during our recitals. I have no clue what the stats or songs would be for this one, honestly, but it would be on theme for this design basis if we could somehow get even more buffs than what our main song list allows for. Like, maybe you could start your hunt with one of the actual diva's buffs at random when this horn is equipped. Might be a bit too strong, but then again, a special weapon like the design contest winner probably deserves some special abilities to match. And that's all of them. It was honestly extremely hard to decide what I wanted to go with myself because there's something to like about all 4. But ultimately my vote ended up going to Nature's Tranquility. There was just something about not only being a bard here, but also a beastmaster when wielding that horn that just feels right. And the design strikes a perfect balance between simplistic and intricate. Depending on how the crakes animate, you could even throw in the pendant that has another crake following you around to become the official master of fluff, which would be hilarious, especially if this thing got great stats. Imagine the strongest horn in the game having you surrounded by little floating balls of cotton at all times. After this one, I think my personal rankings in order would be the Shandra Vina for the amazing attention to the thematic details, the new Udra hunting horn since I kinda wish it was in the game already rather than in the running for a custom weapon contest, and finally the diva horn, since it's pretty close to my number 1 pick, but I like the other one just a little bit better. I'd be happy with any of these coming out on top though, because obviously, special new hunting horn, and a chance to bring more players into our ranks? Sounds like a win-win if you ask me. So if you want to see that happen as much as I do, go vote hunting horn. What are you waiting for? And after you do, come back here and let me know which dude sticky you're hoping wins. Hopefully, I'll be reviewing one of these in the near future. Till next time though, this has been another K-Plays and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.